Me, Scott. I'm back. Um, I'm sick home from work today. I feel like garbage. But I also realized I haven't done one of these videos in a really long time. And that's going to change. Because I have a new computer on the way. I have a new headset on the way. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of games. Not necessarily Ren'Py games anymore, but games. And you can watch me play the games and talk. And then that's pretty much the entirety of the situation we have here. So this is a game called the Outbreak, and I don't know anything about it aside from the fact that I found a link to it on the Ren'Py site. I don't know if it's an actual Ren'Py game or not, but it looks interesting. I like zombie things, even though they're super played out now, as some would say. Episode 1, The Catalyst. Memorial Hospital, Day 0, 10:08 a.m. It had only been a couple of minutes after Ben woke up when Nurse Amy arrived with his breakfast. A few minutes later, she brought lunch, then second lunch, then dinner, then 2 more dinners. Ben loved to eat. Good morning, Ben. How are you feeling today? After another long night of tossing and turning from the cold sweat of delirium of heroin withdrawal had made Ben exhausted. He looked thin and frail in his 28-year-old body, but his 18-year-old body looked much better. He left it at home, though. He was getting this one treated. The young nurse's warmth gave him strength. He was a warmth vampire. He just sucked warmth right out of people. Not too bad, I guess. Amy looked down at Ben with caring eyes, and he knew he couldn't lie to her. Okay, I'm dying. Last night was rough, though. Having trouble sleeping again? Yeah, I was up all night. I was watching HBO. I had a feeling you were still having problems, but I think there's something we can do about that. Oh my god, it's raining outside. Perfect environment for playing a zombie game. Great. As you may or may not know, zombies don't like the rain. Ben looked at Amy with a curious grin. Just don't tell anyone I gave you this, okay? Is it heroin? Sure, what is it? Amy reached into her pocket and dropped a plastic-wrapped cookie onto Ben's tray. Ben picked it up and saw the word special, printed in red letters on the wrapper. Normally, those are for children, but, yeah, anyway, bye, Ben. Ben looked back up at Amy, astonished. Is this what I think it is? A cookie? Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that. All I see is a delicious-looking cookie. Oh my god, is it a drug cookie? I hope it is. Amy gave Ben a sly smile, and Ben caught on instantly. You know, at second glance, I don't think I see anything special about this cookie at all, and also, you're an awful person. Ben returned the sly gesture, and Amy laughed, placing her hand on Ben's shoulder. Can we get to some zombies, please? Good, now enjoy your breakfast. I'll be back out to check up on you again in a few hours. Amy loves heroin addicts. They're great. Actually, they can be. Let's not judge people who are addicted to heroin. Heroin is really good. I'm not saying don't do heroin, but there's a reason people do it. Oh god, just don't listen to anything I say aside from game things. I'm not a good person to give advice. Not that I'm doing heroin, though I've, always... Anyway, Ben looked into Amy's eyes with a glowing smile. You're the best. And she immediately left. Ben watched from his hospital bed as Amy left the room, and then, almost like a ritual, he removed the wrapper from the cookie and took a big bite, ready to drift off wherever his mind wandered. Trenton University, Day 0, 12:16 p.m. The university lecture hall was packed full of medical students, each of which had been undergoing experiments in invisibility. Adam had just started his second year of medical school a few weeks prior, and the demanding routine was already beginning to take a toll on him. Sitting, listening, I can't take it. Actually, that's, medical school is notoriously hard to do because people who want to be doctors apparently have to go in a lot of stress, so they test that. I, for example, could never do that because I don't want to do that. Also, I'm not very smart. As Dr. Myers droned on with his lecture, Adam peered around the hall at the other students who... Jesus, guys, music, please, for the love of God. Oops, yeah, here we go. Why do I always forget this? I also hope that when I return with a new computer and better sound, and other games, that I'm better at remembering things like this. I probably won't be, though. It'll be me doing the same things. As Dr. Myers droned on with his lecture, Adam peered around the hall at the other students who looked upon the gray-haired professor as focused and determined as ever. I can't remember if this is the same Adam from before. He's got glasses, so I'm actually one of those people who would be fooled by Superman and Clark Kent putting on glasses, because if you change anything about your appearance, I immediately don't know who you are. How do they do it? How do they put up with this monotony day after day? Maybe Adam was just tired of the endless hours of studying and the numerous other pressures that came with being a medical student. Or maybe it was something else entirely. Either way, he felt distracted, disconnected. Oh, by the way, I should quickly mention, if you're at all familiar with my channel, as in you pay more attention than I do, you might notice that a couple of the videos I recorded recently are gone. That's because the creators of one of the games asked me to take them down, and he did it in a very, very nice way, so I was like, sure, buddy, no problem. So those are no longer to be watched, but I'm going to replace them with lots of other stuff, so that's all good. Anyway, back to the thing. Blah, 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 that you can read this. Lost in thought, he stared off into space, wondering what he'd be doing right now if he hadn't gone back to medical school this year. Probably masturbating. Over the summer, he'd fantasized about taking time off from school, but he couldn't help but feel obligated to wait until he graduated before doing anything else. And besides, if he had left school, he may have had to break up with his girlfriend, Kate, and that fact alone was enough to end his contemplating. Maybe this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I just have to be patient, or be a patient in a hospital. You hear what I'm saying? Adam nodded his head in silent agreement, then refocused his attention back to Dr. Myers, joining his fellow classmates and listening once again. Memorial Hospital, day 0, 2:47 p.m. Amidst the high of drug-induced ecstasy, the halls of the hospital shined like dew on a spring morning, and for once the dreary hospital seemed alive and buzzing with activity. It was mostly bacteria. Oh yeah, it was Ben. See, I don't even know the difference between Ben and Adam. I did not sleep at all last night, and then the previous day I didn't really sleep either, so that's probably why. Not just other brain problems. Anyway, Ben drifted from floor to floor, striking up conversations with nurses and patients and passerby alike. He had never been this cheerful on previous occasions, but today he felt reborn. He got a drug cookie. Okay, quick thing, I don't think many people put ecstasy in cookies. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know. That doesn't seem like something you can do. Maybe I can look that up later. Ben had been clean for 5 days straight now, and despite the usual spontaneous aches and jitters from withdrawal, he had a deep feeling inside himself that things would be different this time. He's on ecstasy right now. I guess compared with heroin. Alright, anyway, MDMA, not that bad. This time I'll beat it. This time I'll drop the habit for good. From now on, it's just ecstasy cookies for me. Later, Ben was 500 pounds, but really happy. Upon striking up a conversation with the receptionist, Ben locked his eyes with Amy as she returned from escorting a patient outside. He gave her a smile and wave, and she returned the gesture, it was a middle finger, as she made her way to the elevator. It wasn't so much that Amy was charming and attractive that Ben admired about her, but that she so selflessly cared for others without judgment or reservation. She also gave patients in a hospital drugs, but like illegal ones. Why wouldn't she just give him some morphine or something? I guess if he's trying to break off the heroin withdrawal. But the point remains, I mean, that's not a good idea. Anyway, life as a junkie had not been so honorable for Ben, as most junkies are usually very honorable. They're like knights. As motivations lied more in securing the next fix than caring for others. Wow. Way to stereotype junkies, guys. Come on. Ben wondered if he was even capable of caring for himself, let alone another human being. Maybe he could buy a fish or a cactus. As Ben made his way back to his quarters on the 5th floor, he heard some screaming at the end of the hallway. It was Macklemore. Curious, he walked briskly towards the noise, and when he peered around the corner, he saw a male patient lashing out at a doctor, while 3 nurses pinned him down to a hospital bed and secured him with restraints. That's for making music, Macklemore. Once the hectic scene was over, Ben hurried back to his room, frightened and unsure of what he had just seen. It was just a disturbed patient. This probably happens all the time. There's nothing to worry about. Ben lay down in bed, and after a few minutes of tossing and turning, he fell asleep. You know what? If he was on ecstasy, he's not falling asleep. I'm sorry. Trenton University, day 0, 5:13 p.m. Another long day at school now over. Adam set off back home to his apartment across the vast university campus. The weather was warm and sunny with a cool breeze that made him regret being inside all day. I'm gonna give him a different voice because he's not Ben. What a shame, another perfect day wasted. A few minutes later, Adam received a phone call from Kate. I legitimately thought that was my phone for a second. Hello?
Hey, are you home yet?
I'm actually on my way home now. How about you?
Same here. I just left work a few minutes ago. Are we still on for dinner tonight?
No, I don't like eating dinner anymore. I'm a lunch and breakfast man from now on.
Great, see you around 7?
Sounds good. I'm sure that dinner will be lovely and nothing will go wrong. It's gonna be great. It's definitely gonna happen. The call ended, and after a few more minutes of walking, Adam exited the university campus and entered the streets of the city. Quick side note, one of the other reasons I want to do other games, aside from these Let's Play Ren'Py games, is that I find these really boring a lot of the time. This one's kind of interesting so far. I find them boring, and also, people work hard on these things, and I don't want to make fun of, a 15-year-old kid who's making their first game. It makes me feel bad, even though it is fun to do sometimes. And so I would like to make fun of other games. I'm going to be playing... Probably I'm going to be playing Skyrim, because it's a game I actually enjoy playing. Minecraft, because people like watching dumb Minecraft videos. I'll, hit a tree, and you'll be like, oh, wow, he hit that tree and said something. Any other interesting games, like I would like to do some of those like prop hunt style games, but I need to get other people who aren't horrible to play with. That's nothing against my friends, I just haven't played that game with them. They're horrible, though. What else? Anyway, you can suggest other games you want me to play, because I'm getting a relatively new computer. Well, it's a new computer. It's just, it's not a gaming PC, because I don't like those. I work with computers, and I like my... And anyway, this is... no sleep. The call ended, and after a few more minutes of walking, you don't need to hear my life story, Adam exited the university campus, although I like telling it, and entered the streets of the city. I was born in... As Adam waited at a busy intersection, he saw several police cars speed by with their sirens blazing. Must have been an accident or something. Meh. The stoplight turned red, and Adam walked across the street, then made his way over to a wine shop another block down. Upon entering the wine shop, a pleasant aroma stuck in his nose. It was the smell of Canada. And I don't know what country that could possibly stand for. And here's a porthole into another dimension, possibly Narnian wine. He browsed leisurely through the shop, searching the wine selection for the perfect bottle to complement tonight's dinner. Here we go. Dirt water. After a short while, he settled on a bottle of red wine, purchased it at the counter, and then exited the shop. Oh god. Hey, it's Lenscrafters. You can get your zombie glasses in an hour. As he re-entered this... Yep. As he re-entered the streets of the city, Adam saw a multitude of police cars, ambulances, and other emergency vehicles pass by in a hurry. Damn, whatever happened must have been serious. I realized I'm playing with the mouse again. I used to play with the spacebar. Let's go back to that. There we go. He figured it wouldn't hurt to walk a couple more blocks. It's been like months. I'm sorry. I just forgot about this and didn't like doing it very much. To satisfy his curiosity, so he followed in the direction of the sirens. Eventually, he reached the back of a crowd of pedestrians flooding the perimeter of Memorial Hospital, while numerous emergency workers and police officers surrounded the front entrance. Well, this is interesting. Thanks, Adam. Memorial Hospital, Day 0, 5:41 p.m. Ben sat anxiously on the side of his bed, waiting for some type of response from Amy. He had heard more commotion and frantic screams throughout the fifth-floor hallway, and no one nearby seemed to have any idea what was going on. Maybe they all had diarrhea from the hospital food. He figured the best idea was to stay put. Actually, hospital food's not that bad anymore. You should try it. Go to the hospital. It's great. Not that I'm saying I've been in the hospital recently. I just steal food from hospital patients. That's not true. Don't arrest me. The statute of limitations was to stay put until further notice. But each minute that went by seemed to last a lifetime. Not exaggerate much. Eventually, he couldn't stand to wait any longer for a response. He picked up the phone next to his bed and to page a nurse, a receptionist, anyone. Maybe he could talk to Rush Limbaugh. He knew a lot about pills. Luckily, just before he started dialing, Amy entered the room. Ben hates dialing. It's a weird story. I'm not going to tell it. Thank God you're here. What the hell is going on? Amy was obviously shaken up, but trying her best to hold it together. The other patients, they've become unstable. They play video games and talk about them on the internet. Unstable? I forget how I did his voice. Unstable? What do you mean? Psychotic, like all of a sudden they just snapped and started acting like maniacs. Like people who play video games and talk about them on the internet on YouTube. What? How did this happen? Well, I figured they probably saw some stupid game and then decided to record themselves playing it because other people might find it funny, even though it's a really dumb practice that no one should do. I don't know. Patients without any history... It's fun. It's not fun. Patients without any history of mental psychosis are suddenly becoming violent. It's completely irrational. Sounds like a zombie movie. Ben couldn't help but to shake his head in bewilderment, trying to process the situation. And when he looked back to Amy, she was in tears. Oh no, don't cry, it'll be okay. Ben moved closer to console Amy. Console Amy. He used her like an Xbox 360. She connected to the internet and he played Grand Theft Auto 5. But she backed away, stricken with grief. No, it's not going to be okay. Dr. Marshall is dead. One of the patients attacked him, beat him to a bloody pulp with his bare hands. I barely made it out of there alive. Ben looked at Amy with a grave stare, completely sobered by the news. Got more of those cookies, he said. We need to get out of here now. Memorial Hospital, day 0, 5:53 p.m. As Adam made his way through the crowd surrounding the hospital, he saw 2 squads of police officers in riot gear, stacking up against each side of the front entrance. Maybe I'm crazy, but those actually look like army dudes to me and not police. Whatever. After a few moments, army dudes, that's the technical term, look it up. The command to enter the building, command center, where did I even get that? The command to enter the building was given, and both squads entered swiftly through the front doors of the hospital. A cacophony of screams and gunshots filled the area as a horde of violent patients, visitors, and hospital staff brutalized the riot officers and streamed out of the building. The crowd immediately erupted into a frenzy, and Adam tried to escape the scene. He turned into a little girl to disguise himself, and then got off the boat and dressed in civilian clothes. It was a reference to a horrible thing. Hopefully you won't know what I'm talking about by the time you watch this. As he approached the back of the crowd, he saw a frightened little girl standing by herself a short distance away. Pigtails are stupid, he yelled as he ran into the distance. Out of the corner of his eye, Adam spotted a patient covered in blood, moving quickly toward her. Yeah. Adam immediately made a break to defend the girl, and just as the patient reached her, Adam smashed his wine bottle over the patient's head, knocking him to the ground and ruining dinner. When Adam turned around, he saw the little girl staring back at him as she was carried away out of the crowd. You know, I think this is like a picture from some sort of emergency. That's not really that cool, but we're gonna continue. At least she's safe. Adam continued moving away from the crowd, and once he cleared the scene, he strayed off the main road into a back alley. The moment Adam caught a whiff of one of the dumpsters, he felt a horrible knot grow in his stomach, and he vomited uncontrollably on the ground. Great. That was more vomit he would have to save for later. What the hell is going on? Why did I waste all this vomit? I like doing that at home. Adam gathered himself slowly, wiping the vomit from his mouth, onto his pants, then onto a nearby brick wall. Then he smeared some of the vomit in his hair and put a mask of it on his face. That didn't happen. He gathered himself slowly, wiping the vomit from his mouth, shaking feverishly. If there was ever a time in his life that he was truly scared, it was now, and also during the time... don't even joke. But he knew he had to keep moving if he was going to have any... I didn't even have a joke there. This is how long it's been since I've done this. Normally I can say things. Not today, I'm tired. Moving if he was going to have any chance of making it back home alive. He peered out into the street from behind the brick wall of the alleyway, then began making his way back home. Dinner was getting cold. Memorial Hospital, day 0, 6:01 p.m. As Ben and Amy made their way toward the exit of the hospital, Amy strayed off into a side room in the 5th floor hallway. In a hushed tone, Ben called out to her from outside. Hey, Amy, do you have any more cookies? Amy, what are you doing? Just grabbing some supplies before we go. Who knows if we'll have access to any of this stuff anytime soon. Damn, Amy's smart as hell. If you're in a zombie apocalypse and you work in a hospital, do what Amy does and just steal all the stuff you can. Because medicine is so valuable in the zombie apocalypse. So very valuable. Okay, just make it quick. I don't want to spend any more time here than we need to. Yeah, no, we all... Really, Ben? Really? Yeah, let's spend as much time possible in the zombie-infested hospital, you dick. Agreed. Ben stood guard anxiously outside the storage room, scanning back and forth each side of the hallway for any movement. Luckily, he saw nothing, but that made him even more worried. A few hours ago, this place was full of people, but now it's empty. What the hell happened? He thought back to the patient he saw earlier who was trying to attack a doctor. The anger in his eyes, the animosity, it was... inhuman. Whatever it was that caused this mess, Ben... Why did I choose this voice? My throat hurts already. Ben had no way of knowing for sure. He was lucky enough to be alive as it was, and survival was all he could muster to think about now, and cool shirts with weird necks. Amy entered back into the hallway and called out to Ben. Okay, I grabbed all I could carry. I know of a back exit we can take. I know... It should be a lot safer than in the front entrance. Oh, God. Jokes. Must not make jokes. The children watch the show. Follow me. Ben nodded, and they began walking briskly toward the end of the hallway. When they came to the entrance leading to the stairwell, Amy opened the door and entered inside, and Ben quickly followed. So where is this back exit exactly? Yeah. It's in the back of the lobby. Hopefully we can slip by unnoticed. That may not be so easy. I'm farting uncontrollably from that cookie I ate earlier. Jeez. Yeah, well, Ben. Yeah, well, it's the best plan I've got. And I guess we don't have much of a choice. I'm a mature adult, by the way. Once Ben and Amy made it down to the first floor, they peered through the window of the stairwell door and saw a horde of dead bodies scattered through the lobby. Ben farted in fear. Damn, what the hell happened down here and there? Ben looked back to Amy, and when she spoke, her lip quivered. God, Ben, it smells so bad. A massacre. Amy leaned against the wall of the stairwell and dropped slowly to the ground, her hands covering her face. Ben crouched down next to her and placed his hand on her shoulder. Amy, look at me! Amy wiped the tears from her eyes and looked up at Ben. I know things look bad, but we have to stay positive. We'll make it through this, both of us. I promise. Ben gave Amy a smile, and she nodded in agreement. Ben stood back up and held out his hand. Ready? Amy took his hand and got back up on her feet. Let's get the hell out of here. As Ben and Amy passed through the lobby, they glanced down at the bloody corpses that laid motionless on the floor. A variety of patients, hospital staff, visitors, police officers, and emergency workers had all fallen victim to a battle that had taken place only a short while ago. It was difficult for Ben not to stare in amazement at the sheer amount of carnage that lay before him, but he made sure to keep moving. It didn't take long for them to reach the back exit, but when Amy pulled out her keys to unlock the door, they heard a moan come from behind the front counter of the lobby. Did you hear that? Of course I did, Ben. You've just been doing that for the past 6 minutes. Yeah, it didn't sound good. I'll go take a look. You work on getting this door to open. Are you sure that's a good idea? It could be someone who needs our help. Yeah, Ben. Go help someone. That's a good idea. Helping. Ben. Fine, just make it quick. Ben crept slowly toward the front counter, making sure to keep an eye out for any movement. When he glanced down to the floor, he saw an injured man sitting up against the base of the counter. In a hushed voice, Ben spoke to him. Hey, are you all right? The man turned his head slowly toward Ben, his eyes barely open. Injured man. Listen. What is it? The blood, it's... Yes? The man took a deep breath. Oh, what is that? Have you been eating special cookies? Contagious. Ben stared down at the floor, his eyes wide open and mouth agape. Oh, God. Well, when Ben looked back to the man, he had a pistol pointed to the side of his head. Uh-oh! The pistol fired and the man's body fell to the side, limp and lifeless. When Ben moved closer to search the body, he noticed the man was wearing a visitor ID badge on his shirt. Dr. Stephen Ellis. The next thing Ben knew, a patient covered in blood was standing at the front of the lobby, staring straight at him. For a moment, Ben and the patient stood frozen, as if they were both waiting for the other to make the first move. This has been Let's Play a Stupid Ren'Py Game, The Outbreak, Day 0, Part 1. Tune in soon for a follow-up part. I will continue playing. Here. Save the game. And once again, I'm going to be making more videos. Lots of videos. New computer, headset, faster talking, other games. Tune in soon. Tell your friends. Don't tell your friends. Tell your parents. Don't tell your parents. I mean, you can tell your parents. Tell your parents that you're watching YouTube videos. They'll be really proud of you. I'm Scott. Goodbye for now. Goodbye. Where's my... Goodbye. How do I... don't even remember...